Okay, so we have our skeleton set up here, the scaffold. Now let's say we want to show a list of movies, right? How do we do that? Now, if you've done Android development before, you probably had to look at Recycler View. Recycler View is a widget that allows us to add lists into our application, right? Scrollable lists. And of course, in traditional Android development, that requires adapters and requires XML files to create the rows. And there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things that you have to do in order to get a list showing items. Okay? But in composable, things are a little bit different. In fact, there are a whole lot different. And to create a list, to create a recycle view in this case, we use a function, a composable function called LazyColum. So let's see how that would work. If we go back to our main content here, for now, let me just get rid of all of this. We probably won't need that. Let's just have text. And I'm going to pass as a parameter here. Let's go ahead and pass a movie list as such. And it's going to be a list containing strings for now. Okay. And this, let's just set this to list of, pass a few elements here. And first is going to be avatar. How about life? I'm sure there are a lot of movies titled life. Okay, so we're passing here a list, right, as a parameter. And inside here, we want to create a structure that will allow us to create a list, a scrollable list of each one of these movies. So our modifier here, I'm just going to say padding, give about 12.dp. Okay. So now inside of our column here, I'm going to call the LazyColum function there, composable. Okay. And so in this case here, for the content, I'm just going to go ahead and pass in a trailing lambda, and I'm going to say items. Now, there are different methods we can call here. There's item lambda, there's item count. We can pass each count if we want. And I want this, either one of these items, which allows us to pass a list of type T. In this case, could be anything, or array of type T. I can also pass indexed, items indexed, and so forth. So we have a lot of methods and functions we can use. Let's use the items one, that one. Okay. Here I'm going to pass items. For our items, I'm going to pass our movie list, and then we have a lambda here. Here is where we can then, for each item that we are getting from our list, we can then call it, show it. In this case, we're just going to put a text. We can say IT because we have this implicit variable that is being passed there, which is IT. In this case, it's a string because it knows items is a list of strings. Now, if I refresh this, we should see, and there you have it, we have a list of strings. So it doesn't matter how many other items we add here. If we refresh, you can see the list will keep growing. So this looks great. Now, if we were to run this on our emulator or on our device, we wouldn't really see the power that we have here because we don't have as many items as we could have, so we wouldn't see the scrollable effect happening. But let's modify things here. First of all, this is really boring. We're just passing text, creating a list of text, which is fine in some cases, but in this case, we can create some sort of a row that will represent each one of these items, each one of these movies. We can wrap this inside of yet another composable, and we can structure what we want to see. So what we can do, yes, you guessed it, I'm going to create another composable at the bottom here. Let's say add composable, and let's call this fun movie row. Now, each row will need something. It will need an actual movie. So for now, I'm just going to put here movie. It's going to be just a string. Okay. Because you see each one of these movies that we're getting here, it's going to be a string. So this is going to be called, we're going to call inside here and get the structure going. So what is it that we want to do? Well, we want to have a card. So each one of these items, when we are calling the LazyColum, it's going to go loop through. We want to create a nice card around each one of these titles and maybe add more UI components or widgets. Okay, so I'm going to create a card. I'm going to use a card because it has what I need. So let's pass a modifier. Let's give a padding of about 4 dp all around, and fill max width, let's like that, and let's give it a height of about 130 dp, and we can give it a shape, right? Because it's a card, we can pass a shape. Let's say rounded corner shape. I'm going to say corner, pass the corner size or radius. It doesn't matter. Let's say corner size. I'm going to say 12.dp. Perhaps 16 to make it a little bit dramatic. And we can pass elevation, right? Say 6.dp to give that nice shadow and contrast. Okay, so inside here, this is where I'm going to then copy or pass the actual text. For now, I'm going to just pass this text that would say what? Well, it's going to say movie. So we're just passing whatever string we're getting. So now this movie row we can call inside of our LazyColum. So say movie row and expects the IT, which in this case is going to be a movie column. So we get rid of that and we'll refresh once again. And there you have it. Okay, let's make it a decent size, and you can see we have that very nice structure. Okay, see it has the border and it looks really nice. Of course, the text is to the left and it's kind of not looking great. So let's see what we can do. Well, as you know by now, you can do all sorts of things. For instance, to start with, we can wrap this inside of a row because we may want to add other items here, not just the title of the movie, right? So we can start customizing, nothing new here. So let's put a row, and I'm going to say the vertical alignment, say alignment, I want to center vertically, okay, and then we want horizontal, then want a horizontal arrangement to say I want this to start, so it will always be to start there. And now I'm going to just get our text and add inside of our row. And before that, we can say, well, I want to add something else. Perhaps we can add an image here or an icon. Okay, we can do that. Let's put it inside of a surface because it's easy to manage. I'm going to put a modifier, give a padding of about 12.dp. And I'm going to give it an overall size of about 100.dp. I'm going to pass a shape. In this shape, I'm going to make it rectangular or rectangle shape. And give it another elevation here. I can say about 5.dp. Okay. All right, so what I want inside of this surface? Well, for now, let's pass in an icon. Let's use the first option with image vector. And for image vector here, I can invoke the icons library, right? And say default, and let's just say account box. So we can put whatever we want, but for now, we're just going to add that so we can have some sort of a placeholder. Is also valuable to visually impaired. We need to pass a content description for image, icons, and so forth. So in this case, I'm going to say image, or rather movie image. There we go. So let's go ahead and refresh this and see what's going to happen. And what do you have? Very nice. So we have that very nice icon. Around it, you can see there, we have this nice square, and the text is showing to the right, the title of the movie. Very nice. Let's see if we can run this on an emulator or device. All right, so I'm running on my device, and I can see I have this very nice application with all of these rows that we just created. And the beauty here again, if I go up here and add a few more items in our list, Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. Okay, there we go. And voila, it's a scrollable view. And we have our list. Now I'm going to look at my app here, and you can see it's very smooth. And there you have it. Okay, just like that, we're able to put together a list of, in this case, movies, could be anything. And on top of that, we were able to create a row easily that we feed the actual movie title. And inside of this row, we can do whatever we want. We can customize it. We added a card because that's what we like. We put a row, and inside of this row, we have a surface where we have this icon. And then we have the text, the actual movie title. And there you have it. The important thing here to notice is that we created this composable row, which is called inside of a LazyColum, which of course we are calling it inside of a main content composable. And then we're passing this movie list. Okay, we're just passing some data at this point. And then, of course, the LazyColum takes that list and invokes the movie row and passes in that data. And just like that, you can see that we have this scrollable list of movies.